guys, Jack here, and before we get started, I want to give a very special thanks to a few people who helped support this episode. First off, a very special thanks to Linkara for blessing this episode, whose History of Power Rangers reviews were a great help in doing research on the show. And of course, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers composer and songwriter Ron Wasserman, whose blessing and support of this episode helped make this possible. You know, he's basically the guy who wrote this classic tune. Both their websites will be in the description down below, and we would really appreciate if you guys could go check out their content. And of course, a very special thanks to all of our Patreons. If you guys want to help support the channel and help finance our future projects, just $1 or more will get you early access to all of our content, as well as other special features. We normally don't credit people until the credits roll, but in this case we wanted to give these two people a very special thanks for helping support this episode, and we're going to start doing more of these in order to thank all of our Patreons. Thank you all so much for supporting this episode, and enjoy the show. The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. Power Rangers, along with Super Sentai, are all owned by Saban Entertainment, Toei, 20th Century Fox, Disney, Nickelodeon, Lionsgate Entertainment, Bandai, Hasbro, and Haim Saban. Please support the official release.
Smoke of the powers of darkness, I command you forth to bring me a worthy ally. Bring forth a member of the United Alliance of Evil from the Morphin Grid. It is I, Great Queen of the Alliance of Evil.
My, aren't you devilishly handsome?
You have nice manners for a space witch after all these years.
It is a supreme honor to be at your service, my lord and master. How can I be of such?
Do you recall your mission to destroy the Power Rangers by order of Lord Zed? I want you to continue that mission and destroy those loyal to Zordon for good.
I will not only destroy them, I will obliterate their entire legacy. I will foresee that the Morphin Grid itself will turn to ash.
Finally! A real worthy ally to my cause! For only one will be able to reveal the key to destroying the Morphin Grid. One recreation that will see to it the Rangers are no more from the start. Our time has finally come, Rita Repulsa. It's time to conquer!
It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another review. And there's no doubt about it, I frickin' love the Power Rangers! Starting its run in 1993, aka the year of the dinosaur, I grew up as a Power Rangers fan at the tail end of the Mighty Morphin era. Even though most of my first experiences with the show was through reruns, I grew up with the original Mighty Morphin team through countless VHSs, toys, and even experiencing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers live tour presented by 7-Up of all things.
What's he up to this time?
That is as yet unknown.
Keep shouting! More light! More light! More light!
The show's beginnings, of course, is mostly just stock footage from a long-running Japanese tokusatsu Toei series, Super Sentai, most notably Kyuru Sentai Zyuranger. Spliced and dubbed with American actors, much like the old Godzilla movies of the Showa era. And with that old school formula continuing to build up steam after over 25 years, Power Rangers has become as much of a phenomenon as its Japanese originators. Now, I won't get into the whole history of the show because, quite frankly, I'll just leave Linkara's History of Power Rangers as your go-to guide to the series. Personally, I've only just stuck with the original Mighty Morphin series for my Power Rangers kick because that's what I grew up with. And at the time, it was a damn good show and pretty much introduced me to not only the tokusatsu and kaiju genre, but also Japanese entertainment. I don't think without this show I wouldn't have gotten into the likes of Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball, which pretty much meant I would have never have gotten into anime. Which, by the way, why the hell hasn't Toei given me a Super Sentai vs. Sailor Scout special? You own both franchises! Fucking do it!
Jesus Christ, I've met some dumb bastards in my time, but you outdo them all. Get over there!
And that's kind of awe-inspiring when you think about it. And in that sense, the show has a lot to admire, and I loved it from its action sequences, special effects, and of course its characters. I'll never forget when I was first hooked onto the show watching the Green with Evil arc, which is probably the most iconic story of Power Rangers as a whole, and introduced us to the Green Man himself, Jason David Frank as Tommy Oliver.
Will you join us, Tommy?
Look out, Rita, we're not backing down, we're the Power Rangers!
Now, you'd think a kid's show with such a popularity in the 90s would grab the attention of Hollywood to make a big-budget, feature-length motion picture. Well, that happened 3 times, apparently. In 1995, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie arrived on the big screen to mixed results. I mean, I personally love it as a time capsule of my 90s childhood, but yeah, I can't deny some things haven't aged well, like the god-awful CGI that could give the Asylum a run for its money. Though, to be fair, the movie isn't afraid to show off its CGI for long periods of time instead of a fraction of a second. I'm looking at you, Atlantic Rim, you fucking aluminum dildo piece of shit!
It burns!
1997 saw the release of the show canon sequel, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. And while I did see this one in theaters and was happy to see some suitmation effects rather than CG, the film felt very lackluster with barely any Ranger action. And after the Rangers failed to make it on the big screen and had bigger success on the small screen for over 2 decades, how do you think they would handle the 20th anniversary of the show? Well, with the infamous Legendary War, featuring all the Rangers using jack shit of Sentai footage and make the battle less than a minute! Well, when you fail to celebrate your 20th anniversary on the small screen, you might as well go the route of every nostalgic property. To the Reboot Express! All aboard! Yep, in 2017, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were the next trend of childhood nostalgia to be rebooted in this god-awful industry of unimaginative uncreativity, featuring an average cast, some interesting designs, and a lot of CGI nonsense you expect nowadays. So in that sense, what's the story? Well, the film begins surprisingly enough with the back history of the Rangers' powers, with Zordon, played by Bryan Cranston, being utterly defeated and betrayed by his Green Ranger partner Rita, played by Elizabeth Banks. In a desperate move, Zordon seals Rita and the Ranger powers away as the Earth is destroyed by the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs. We then cut to the 90s reboot of the 2010s as we meet up with the reimagining of the original 5 teenagers with attitude, who look like they stepped off the set of a Chronicle reboot or The Breakfast Club, who soon form as fast friends. During one of their hooligan adventures, the group discover a set of colored crystal-like coins, and in the hidden base within the mountains, coming across Zordon and his robot assistant, Alpha, played by Bill Hader, who gives them the offer to take on the mission of the Power Rangers. As it turns out, Rita returns from her enchanted seal and plans to find the legendary Zeo crystal to take over the world.
Of course!
After weeks of training and trials, the team morph into their respective Rangers and prepare to do battle with Rita and save their desert suburban town of Angel Grove. So, with another reboot of nostalgia under our belts, what's my take on this reimagining of the classic show? Well, I might be the minority on this, but I really didn't care for this movie. Yeah, I know a lot of people and Power Ranger fans really dug this movie and hope for a sequel, which even I want to see, but the problem I have with the film is that it comes off really disinteresting in both characters, story, and design. Character-wise, the Rangers in this film don't have the same mentality or iconic feels of the original team. The whole movie comes off as a Chronicle knockoff, and the teens come off as moody and angsty. Now, I can give credit to the writers for actually giving us teenagers with attitude, as well as change the characters to fit a much more demographic and diverse audience, but what made the characters in the original show so memorable is that we grew up with them over the span of 3 seasons and beyond, so it gave us time to get attached to them. The teens here are just as generic as most young adult novel movie adaptations. And with the rumors of a sequel up in the air, it comes off as pointless to be invested in these versions of the characters if this is just a one-off movie. However, to the film's credit, the best characters in the movie are of course Zordon and Rita. Bryan Cranston is pretty solid taking on the mantle of this iconic wise sage. Hell, it's a perfect choice given some of his earlier work before Breaking Bad fame was doing voices for the monsters on the original series.
Goddamn right.
He gives us a wise yet traumatized master who is hoping the mistake of the past doesn't happen again. Hell, he reminds me a lot of Barza from Zeo Ranger. Elizabeth Banks was an interesting cast choice for Rita Repulsa, and when the first photos were released of her design, I was concerned but also intrigued. The concept of her being the first Green Ranger, while off the chart of the original series, actually makes sense. One thing the original show never explained, especially with the Green with Evil saga, is how Rita obtained the Green Ranger coin and powers. And in the movie, it actually fills in that plot hole that since she was the original Green Ranger, that she had the coin and powers in her possession. And if a sequel does happen, would have her pass on the powers to Tommy. So in that sense, the movie fills in the blanks that the original show didn't provide, which I can admire and respect. And Elizabeth's performance is a lot of fun to watch. She's chewing so much scenery in this movie, even the Krispy Kreme can't escape her wrath. We'll get back to that. The story is one thing I thought could have used more time and effort. I mean, the whole movie is a feature-length remake of the first episode, Day of the Dumpster. That's it. I understand it being a reboot and needing time to develop the characters, but the problem is, as a Power Rangers movie, we know how the formula works, and the Rangers only show up for the last 20 minutes of the movie, and that is not acceptable. Look at Batman Begins, for example. It's one of the best origin films for an iconic character. It allows us time to follow Bruce's journey from a child losing his parents to be trained into a full-blown warrior and finally donning the suit and becoming the Batman, all in the span of an hour. Halfway into the movie, allowing another hour of action-packed adventures with the Dark Knight. Here, the movie is 2 hours, about the same length as Batman Begins, and the Ranger action doesn't happen until the last half hour. Why not have them start kicking ass halfway through the movie? Even the original movie had more screen time with the Rangers in uniform, and that's saying something with a reboot like this. The only thing I found interesting in the plot is more of a theory than the plot itself. One of the many Easter eggs and nods to the original series was a few cameos from Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson, the original Green and Pink Pink Rangers. Hell, they were wearing their selective colors and come off as a couple. Although, to be fair, that does ignore the continuity of Tommy ending up with Kat. But the theory I have is that the movie is trying to pull off a J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboot by having this film take place in an alternate dimension, and that Tommy and Kimberly are keeping track of these new Rangers. And it wouldn't be too far-fetched given the original series does deal with alternate dimensions and time travel in the Morphin Grid, with later seasons like Time Force, RPM, and Dino Charge. And if they add on this process in the sequels, I could be more accepting to this version of the Rangers as part of the continuity of the show. Now, while the story and main characters don't work, what about the scenes with the Power Rangers themselves? Well, I'll admit that while the film lacks Ranger action, the final scene kicks some serious ass and is a lot of fun to watch. I'll even give the movie credit that the Ranger suits actually look pretty damn solid and a cool upgrade to the original spandex and motorcycle helmets. The alien look gives the Rangers a much more supernatural look, which I thought was a nice look to upgrade for today's audience. I also enjoyed the updated fight scenes giving the Rangers much more superhero abilities. Mind you, the only thing I can complain about is the lack of power weapons. Where the hell are the blade blasters or iconic weapons of each Ranger? The only weapons they use is the same power blade that, while looking cool, doesn't give each Ranger a special ability. Even the music is generic and doesn't add much. The only memorable piece is using the original movie theme, but only for a brief moment. Why not create a new cover of the original Go-Go Power Rangers theme? Give it to an artist like Green Day or something. It's like it was added at the 11th hour due to fan complaints. And unfortunately, there's a lot of negative to say more than the positive with this reboot. Again, the story doesn't add much to the mythology and really only adds callbacks to the series with lines, music cues, and elements like the Zeo Crystal. Hell, some characters that made the show rewatchable aren't even in the movie, most notably Rita's other minions and especially Bulk and Skull. To quote Linkara, what the hell? They're the most developed characters in the entire series. Okay, I guess you wanted to focus more on the Rangers, which is understandable, but it's hard to see the Power Rangers without this iconic bumbling duo. I mean, are these bitches supposed to be the replacements for Bulk and Skull? Well, it's hard to tell without something to cue us in, and they come off more as knockoffs to Mean Girls. Hell, why didn't you put this music in to cue us in? Would have given us more of a reason to be interested in these two, and it seems like a really missed opportunity. Even the fact that it's set up for a sequel pisses me off, because in hindsight, given the movie didn't do well at the box office, and they teased the concept of the sequel's plot being the Green with Evil arc. That saga was the plot that made me a Power Rangers fan, and the idea of a big screen budget adaptation of the most iconic Power Rangers story sounds awesome. Think about how they'd update the Green Ranger suit, or the concept of a Godzilla-sized Dragonzord attacking the city. Even the Rangers duking it out with the Green Ranger. But the film being a flop and a sequel up in the air really saddens me. Also, as a side note, I really didn't understand the product placement. It's all over this goddamn movie, and it's really annoying. And I would have preferred something like Tim Hortons at least. I mean, hell, the movie was filmed in Vancouver, so why the fuck not? But the biggest problem I have with the film is the production design, which, good God, is fucking horrible. I never understood why Angel Grove went from a 90s Tokyo-esque dystopia to a desert-inducing ghost town. It makes the concept of a big-budget giant monster movie very lackluster, especially given there's not many buildings to smash. Why not set the film more in a Los Angeles area similar to Hill Valley or something? Why a town that looks more like a place that the cars of Radiator Springs would spend the night in? Not to mention, while the Ranger suits and Rita look good, less can be said about the creature and battle designs. I mean, I can make the exception of the Putty Patrol, which they actually are putty and clay coming from the ground, giving each foot soldier a different look, but God, what the fuck did they do to Goldar? He was an iconic character of the show as a noble but barbaric warrior who served loyally to Rita. Even if he was a bumbling griffin of sorts, he was still a very intimidating villain. But this? What the fuck am I looking at? They made the character so literal that it's just plain lazy. I mean, all they did was take the Megazord design and dunk it in Flex Gold, for fuck's sakes.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Which brings me to my final and biggest problem with the film. The fucking Megazord. Okay. Now, let me explain why this is a fucking problem by asking a very simple question. Aside from the Rangers themselves, and the theme song, and the villains, and Bulk and Skull, for the casual movie-going audience, what is the most iconic thing in Power Rangers history? It's this baby right here. The original Megazord design is probably the most iconic thing in the franchise next to the Rangers and the goddamn theme song. It's the definitive giant robot brought together by other giant robots. Aside from Voltron, of course. But not only that, the reason this thing has stood the test of time for over 25 years and outmatches any other Megazord to date is for one simple reason. 1993 was the year of the dinosaur, a time when these prehistoric creatures were frickin' everywhere, thanks to the likes of the Dinosaurs TV show, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and of course Jurassic fucking Park. Hell, because of Steven Spielberg's masterpiece, I don't think the first season of Power Rangers would have done so well at the time if it didn't grab all the kids' attention after their Jurassic kick, because what's better than dinosaurs themselves? That would be giant robot dinosaurs. And as a kid, everyone wanted the toy of this mighty set of robots. From the Tyrannozord, the Triceratops, Pterodactyl, and yes, even the Dragonzord. Which you could debate its dragon qualities, but fuck it, it's basically a green Mechagodzilla. These Zords and their toy counterparts were awesome. And as many other Zords have come and gone, nothing has truly matched the original Dinozords in terms of quality, features, and iconability. Now with that being said, this toy is awesome and one of my favorites in my nostalgic collection. Wanna see how Lionsgate fucked it up? With this piece of shit! Good God, an diarrhea gravy dish! What the fuck is that? This was the one thing the studio could not fuck up. Look at the original concept art for the film. These were more accurate to the show's original Dinozords and felt updated appropriately to match their more prehistoric counterparts. But these abominations look like they were put out by H.R. Geiger's pants-shitting stains. Because this isn't the Megazord. This is a fucking Bayformers disaster.
Sorry, Bumblebee! Woo!
Especially the Dinozords. I mean, aside from the saber-toothed tiger and the pterodactyl, who the fuck approved these designs? Why do the Triceratops and Mastodon have multiple legs? They look more like prehistoric dung beetles that fed on the poop of dinosaurs rather than the giants they're meant to represent. They look like they would fit more in Beetleborgs than they would Power Rangers. However, the worst offender of this is the Tyrannozord, which as a kid was my all-time favorite Zord, with its distinguishable dinosaur look and the use of bull roaring for the sound. And I don't mean bull as in being a male, I mean they used legit bull cattle sound effects for the Zord. It roared to life emerging from an active volcano land as fire surrounded it like a throne of the tyrant lizard king. And even took down the mighty iconic Dragonzord. It's just that awesome! But this Retardosaurus cock looks like if Carnage fucked a Xenomorph! Granted, that would be a nice design for fan art, but this goes too far! It's unappealing, unnatural, unresembling of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and is just plain ugly! Fuck this design, fuck the direction this movie went in, and fuck this movie! Power Rangers 2017 can suck my mighty morphic dick! I can understand some effort put into this movie, but a lot of it comes off as lazy and to cash in on the whole 90s phase of the 2010s. Now, over the top as I am, I can see how people can enjoy this movie as an origin reboot for building up its characters, and for a new generation, I can let them have this. But as a fan of the original series, it's an abstract failure. And it's no wonder why it flopped at the box office. It feels low budget, it's boring, it's pointless to the franchise, especially not including canon material with the likes of Shattered Grid, and the designs are so putrid and gritty that I'd say the bootleg Power Rangers fan film was a better adaptation. It adds nothing to the original series aside from the origins of the Green Ranger powers, and the fact that the Rangers only show up for the last 20 minutes is a major disappointment. I might be the minority on this, but this movie didn't do it for me, coming in halfway, but at a letdown of a 5 out of 10. If it gets a sequel, maybe my opinion will change over time, but for now, this movie could go into Operation Overdrive. Oh yeah, I went there. And as for this hunk of plastic, I wouldn't even buy the Japanese Bandai figure arts version of this thing and melt it down into a hunk of Putty Patrol plastic. Well, that takes care of that hunk of recycled plastic. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the Power Rangers reboot? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments section below, along with your all-time favorite Power Rangers season. So join me next time on the BigJackFilms Reviews in 2020, when we take a look at more reviews coming soon in the near future. What the hell? I don't remember this feature being on the toy. Let me check the manual.
Dag nabbit, nobody ever reads the manual.
Shut up, Down! What the? Damn it, I spent $40 on that piece of Zeo Crystal crap!
Which makes it perfect funny!
Rita Repulsa? I thought Zordon sealed you away with the United Alliance of Evil after the Great War!
Zordon was a fool for thinking he could seal us away, but our new Lord and Master has rejuvenated us to conquer Earth once and for all!
Yeah, should have known. Well, like hell that's gonna happen. The Power Rangers will see to it that they put you back in the dumpster where you belong.
I wouldn't count on that, warrior! The Rangers' timelines have been locked, and without a current team to challenge us, the real Earth is mine for the taking! Let us begin with the rise of the ugliest sword in Ranger history! Magic Wand! Make my Megazord roar! Now, my rebooted wonder, destroy the city! Leave no survivors!
Shit, this is bad. Delta 18, do we have any reserves on standby?
No go, kid. Communications are being disrupted.
We'll try and hack into the communications mainframe. Get any help that we can.
Wait, I'm receiving a signal from the FDT. It's from the Sentai-verse.
The Sentai-verse? We'll patch it through. Keep an eye out for any other signals.
FTT base. Rita has... FTT base. This is Zordon of the Morphin Grid.
Zordon! You're alive? How'd you end up in the Sentai-verse?
There's a simple explanation for that.
Well?
Well, what?
What's the explanation?
I told you, but it cut away.
No, you didn't. You just started and stopped.
It's a lazy writing force field. I sensed a disturbance in the Morphin Grid and discovered Rita has returned to the real world.
Yeah, Gablor revived her. She's taking control of the 2017 Universe Megazord, and we have no weapons to combat it. We're outmatched, Zordon!
Have no fear, my old friend. The Super Sentai have given me access to their grid to provide you and your comrades with Morphos to become the Power Rangers.
But that's impossible! aren't the original Rangers the only ones who have the power coins?
The Rangers' powers are only limited to their universe. However, the Sentaiverse has greater power to create morphos for exceptional individuals.
Oh, so that's how Linkara is able to access the Green Ranger powers.
We are sending you the morphos immediately to combat this threat. Do you have a team of warriors ready to assemble?
I know just the boys for the job.
Contact them quickly, Jack. Good luck, my friend, and may the power protect you.
You can count on me, Zordon. We're on our way.
So if Ocarina of Time has Link go back to his childhood, is it time travel, or is he in a coma while Zelda sucks?
And that's why D&D would be incapable at writing the Star Wars Old Republic movies. They'd probably make the Jedi ancestral, and they'd probably cast Sean Bean to be a Jedi Knight and be killed by the end of the first movie.
Strike your colors, boys. Commence Operation Go-Go!
Holy shit, that is not more phenomenal.
By Jesus, it looks worse in real life than it does on the screen.
That's a big Twinkie. What's the matter, Brad? You want one?
All right, boys. It's time to send this bastard back to the Bayformers universe. It's Morphin Time!
Method-Eye. Triceratops. Saber-tooth tiger.
Yo, what the fuck?
Tyrannosaurus!
Power Rangers! So Zordon has decided to give these YouTubers the Ranger powers, eh? No matter! My legendary Megazord! Destroy them!
Man, this is bullshit. Why am I the girly ranger?
Oh, come on, Eric. In the original Sentai, the Yellow Ranger was a dude.
Fuck, we can't beat him here.
You're right. We need dinosaur power now! Rangers, let's bring them together!
Congratulations on a successful mission, BigJackFilms. You and your friends have proven yourselves worthy to the duty of Power Rangers. With your help, Rita's power over the AR Megazord has been returned to the Rangers of that timeline.
Hey, no worries, Zordon. Anything we can do to help. You and the Power Rangers have always been trustworthy allies.
I do have one question, though. Why didn't we have the Pink Ranger handy? She would have helped make the battle a lot easier.
That is true, Bradley. However, without a host to harness the Pink Ranger coin, it was difficult to track.
Hey, why didn't you use 18 to use the Pink Ranger powers, Jack?
She was on a diplomatic mission in another universe, so she was unavailable.
Regardless, even with the four of you and assistance from Linkara, this world is safe from evil once again. In return, we would like to title you as Honorary Power Rangers.
You can count on us to take on the mantle whenever you need us, Zordon. Come on, guys. Let's bring it in like an old-school Fox Kids live-action TV show from the 90s.
Power Rangers!
How do we get down? I don't know!
Mein Herr, es sieht so aus, als wäre Rita zurück in die Morphiverse geflohen.
So she failed to destroy the Great Warrior as well. This turn of events is unfortunate. We must accelerate our plans. Commence extensive work on the anti-dimensional gate.
Mein Herr, ist es fertig?
I will make it ready. Rita and the United Alliance of Evil will be dealt with accordingly for their failure. But for now, we must keep our allies as one, for we shall finally end this great war, once and for all.
Really keep things moving. After all, we cannot let our Lord and Master keep waiting.